5,500, climbing 10,000, heading 160.
Skyline 3605, Salt Lake departure, radar contact, Tower maintain 14,000, proceed to Hop 2, is in normal speed.
Climbing to 14,000, get Hop 2, and normal speed for Sky 3605.
Testing all further traffic, special information, Juliet, current, Salt Lake altimeter 2910.
7150 and 11, I'll be release speed to 214,
John 120.9, take care.
So Charlie, actually east of I-15 by about 3 miles. The section's passing over I-80 northbound now. Still. 734 Victor, after like approach out, the first result driver stays over east of I-15 northbound, maintaining fast long up.
Solid job, 165.
From before Victor, so just let me know when you'd like to descend on ticket 8000 long delay, sir. Mooney 547, there's traffic 3 to 4 o'clock, 5 miles westbound, currently 12,500, it's 15 air. They're going to be landing runway 17 at Salt Lake. They're going to descend and Salt Lake 7 to the bit approach you.
I just at 5,300 right off the runway. We lost about 5 to 10 knots, just a little wind shear layer there.
3605, thanks. Any turbulence after that?
Yeah, it's been bumpy all the way up. I wouldn't say anything more than just light turbulence on the way out, though.
3605, over.
Degrees, right?
Climbing 10,000, turning to heading to 280.
Sketch 185 Romeo, solid departure, radar contact, maintain 2,000 knots or greater.
250 knots or greater, Skywest 185 Romeo.
Good afternoon, runway 16 right, lower in a bit.
We have the airport set this time, 760.
Clear visual approach, runway 17. And when it's 547, did you want to stay at 8,500 over the mountain road, or would you prefer to descend westbound near Lagoon and go to the Casa?
Yeah, we have the yes, we have the airport set at 760.
I'll just kind of
okay, we're down to 10,000.
That was 185 Romeo, pilot maintain flight level 230, thanks.
I maintain 230, that's 185 Romeo.
Medevac 1 Hotel Charlie, traffic no factor, contact tower 118.3.
Charlie, Jordy.
Thank you. Flight 185 Romeo, delete the speed restriction, clear direct from Oakland.
Over, Skywest 185 Romeo.
Departure Skywest 3725, 280 on the heading 6,300, climbing 10,000.
3725, flight departure, radar contact, resume normal speed.
Normal speed, Skywest 3725.
3605, it's still continuous, but it's getting better and better as we climb.
Go 3605, thanks for that. Contact Salt Lake Center on 123.9, you take care.
123.9, Sky City 605, you too.
15,15000.
Let me say 15000, direct Bonnie, Skywest 3725.
5329, it is 170.
Little 17, Skywest 329.
Just over 6705, radar contact over South Valley Airport, call up under 2991, verify altitude. 3725, what's your plan to be today in the climb out?
Probably 290.
I'll go there with that sound.
Delta Delta 806, 12.7 to 10, turning to 280.
Delta 806, sorry, departure radar contact.
American Center.
That was 3725, maintain 290 knots or greater.
290 or greater, Skywest 3725.
27,000 now wound up.
The joint course of Visual 69 American Center.
Right 070, Skywest 5329.
Approach Challenger 300 with Kilo 111,000, flying the 27.
Challenger 300 with Kilo, approach good afternoon, expect line 17, 10 degrees right.
Expecting 17, 10 degrees to the right, 0 with Kilo.
06, maintain 170 knots to the
170 to bunker, American Center.
In 15,000, clear direct search.
15,000, Delta Delta 806.
And track 4, big record, that's 12,000 a mile, turning northbound, Saratoga 5,500. Saratoga 705 miles altitude, northbound over I-15, just after 7,000, now going to be descending to 6,000.
140 heading field, side Skywest 5329.
5329, please is approaching 16 right, do not exceed 1709.
1XC 17, clear visual 16 right, Skywest 5329.
Contact tower 132.65.
3265 American Center 6 today.
Mission 1, plus approach, good afternoon, park up under 2990. 0, resume normal speed.
Delta 2499.
Skywest 3725, normal speed, contact Salt Lake Center 128.55. Tower 120.2, second and third.
C250, Delta 806.
Delta 2499, flighting 310.
0 with Kilo.
Skywest 6329, contact tower 132.65.
3265, Skywest 5329, so on.
3531, Delta Square, Flight 335 Bravo Airspace, over 515 southbound, maintain 6,500 on back.
The car asked in direct altitude to the localizer distinguished. Direct altitude distinguished.
600, but they might be turning back to south. Challenger 0 with Kilo, turn right heading 090.
090, 0 with Kilo.
Challenger 0 with Kilo, descend maintain 6,000.
6,000, 0 with Kilo.
Mooney 74547, contact first 121.1.
Clear, 2718, business.
Clear 2718, flight close, good afternoon, runway 16 right, lower
West, 168.
Departure American 2367 out of 6.2, climbing 10,000, heading 160.
American 2367, sorry, departure, radar contact. Continuous length further into about 15,000. We're going to maintain 14,000, proceed to Cougar and there's a normal speed.
Is your normal speed up to 14,000 direct to Cougar and copy the turbines, American 2367.
Kilo turn right heading 160 by 0.5 knots, 1 mile.
160, we have the field in sight, 0 kilo.
0 kilo, clear visual approach on 17.
Clear the visual approach, 170 kilo.
Salt Lake Gulfstream 5 Eagle Victor is climbing through 6,500 for 10,000 in the right turn 280.
Clear 533 Golf Victor, solid departure radar contact. And you're rolling on the 280 heading track will be 11 o'clock, 5 miles northbound, E190, 11,000.
Alright, looking for the traffic as you go Victor.
That's 2499, contact solid center, 119.495.
2499 today.
Romeo, turn left heading 140. Delta 3 Golf Victor address. November 3 Golf Victor, resume normal speed.
Almost speed, 3 Golf Victor.
Silk 2718, traffic no passage, you're going to maintain 6,000.
We're going to maintain 6,000 consider flowing.
Direct Bonnie, 3 Golf Victor.
19, climbing 10,000, assign heading 295.
Medevac 581, Hotel Charlie, solid departure radar contact. Climb and maintain flight level 230, resume normal speed.
20, normal speed, medevac 1, Hotel Charlie.
MS21, traffic 9 o'clock, 3 miles eastbound for 4 Cougar 5,800, they'll be turning southbound to finish. Contact Doggy Tower, good. And also the radar service terminated 13 for Speed by 31, traffic 12 o'clock, 2 miles up, direction out, speed indicate 6,900, 3 speed by.
581, Hotel Charlie, turn right, direct 5. American 2367, expect higher passing, social Cougar for proper traffic.
American 2367.
They are kind of finding circles right there, changing altitudes. If you need to descend or turn to the south, just let me know.
Howdy, howdy, gents. How's everyone doing this fine Saturday afternoon? So we're going to fly just for fun, no FS economy. Actually, I was going to do FS economy. I was going to fly my Epic, which I will maybe tomorrow. But FS economy website is on the fritz, and it's trying to make me reset the password again, and I'm just tired of it. Seems like every few days you have to do something on FS economy so you can even pick up jobs. It's like the third time I've had to reset a password. So I figure, you know what, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to fly my second favorite airplane, my King Air, and we're going to fly into, well, both of them are Payware airports. This is Idaho Falls, and we're going to fly from here to Salt Lake City. So Idaho Falls, I can't remember who makes this. It's pretty nice. It comes with its own ortho scenery. And Salt Lake City is made by Mr. X with the new SAM plugin. So this airport actually has a nice little United terminal that I fly into. Idaho Falls Regional. But we're doing a GA flight. Is that ours? Nope. This is ours. Hey Eagle, how are you today? Anything new? Anything new and exciting? Last night's stream didn't go as planned. I updated the my FedEx plane to the latest beta, and it totally broke the autopilot. So after I took off, I had no control over autopilot, and I was not going to hand fly a Boeing 767 to Chicago O'Hare from Minneapolis. So I just quit, watched the movie instead, and I went back to version 133, which was the stable version of that aircraft, and tested it. So now it's working again. That's the problem with betas. Can't really complain. All right, so we're gonna do 52 gallons per wing. I've already done the fuel calculations through SimBrief. It's the only reason I know this. Check fuel for contaminants. Fuel's blue so you can see water. You can even check the oil. Bring this up to 104, I think. Yeah, 104 total. All right, got our fuel. I'm gonna fall off the steps apparently. Okay, come back over here. Shut that. Hook up the GPU. Crank it on. And I'm doing a flight from Portugal to Italy with an Airbus A321 on FSX. Nice. Did you talk to your stepdad about the X-plane? Like, are you guys going to get X-plane? I know you said you were using a friend's copy or something like that, if I remember correctly. Tolis just released an Airbus A321 for X-plane, which is looks pretty decent, actually. If I didn't already have a 320, I would probably have gotten it. I'm waiting for the 350 to be released. Checkbook. I mean, not checkbook. Checklist. I don't have a checkbook. Does anybody have checkbooks anymore? Alright. Control lock undone. Set the brake. Set to quadrant for start. Conditioner levers, fuel cutoff, prop full, throttle idle. External power is 28. Battery should be 22. And we'll turn the battery on. He told me to maybe wait for the new Microsoft Flight Simulator and try it, but we will see. Yeah, someone said the other day, you might have been there, that the word on the street is they're not going to release like a complete release in 2020, that they're actually behind. That's just a word on the street. I mean, I don't have any inside. So hopefully they're going to release it. So, I mean, I agree. If you can wait, you already have a sim and you have a buddy's copy that you can use every now and then. So, yeah, I agree with that. Because even if it's not released with, perfect, it's still going to be released in some regard. All right, Gentai. External power is blinking. We'll connect the external power. Is the 321, does it come with FSX? Or did you buy the 321? Never heard of a checkbook? Yeah, I bet you haven't. That's funny. All right, we'll do a bus sense test. Gentai lights, bus lights. Reset. Checker volts should be 28 across the board. Inverters can come on. Turn on the lights. Seatbelt. Nav light. Tail light. Do fire shut-off valve checks. So we'll turn on the fuel. Make sure the valve shuts. Once the valve shuts, that cuts off the fuel to the engine. Then I could hit the fire extinguisher if there was a fire. So that's just a check to make sure the valve shuts, which it does. Check both sides. Turn off the pumps and we're good. Come over here and we'll check our alert sounds. O2 is 100. Arm the O2. We'll check the mask. Mask is good. We'll turn the engine anti-ice on for ground ops. And we're going to go with 3/4 load. So you got a couple passengers, but it's not totally full for this trip. Get the passenger briefing, check these lights. It comes with FSX, but the cockpit is a bit different. Like on FSX, to get the Airbus 319-2021, it's like €40, and it's complete and has better cockpit textures. Yeah, that's how it is with stock airplanes. X-Plane, there's a lot of developers out there that take stock airplanes and make them better for either no money or very little money, like the REP program, for example. That gives better flight dynamics, flight model to the stock Baron and stock 172. And then you have people like ZeboMod that will make a much better 737 airliner. And that's a very popular mod. It's like it's like a $60 plane that you get for free, really. So there's a lot of people out there to try to make the sim better with just stock stuff. Alright, we're good on volts. We'll remove the steps so we don't blow them away on starting the engines. Turn on the beacon light. GPU is there. Clear prop. I'm gonna start engine one. (16 and 2) will add fuel. Low idle. Check for hot starts, hung starts, and oil pressure is into the green. We have rotation in the turbine, so that's good. ITT is falling, we're above 50, that's a good start. Ignition off. Condition our lever to full power so we can use that engine to start engine 2. So we're going to disconnect external power, remove the GPU, reset Gen 1, check our volts, external power is gone, we're 28 across the board, we can start engine 2. (16 and 2) will add fuel. Checking for hot starts, hung starts. We've got rotation, oil pressure within 15 seconds, I think, in the green. ITT is falling, and we're above 50 on turbine. It's a good start. Make sure the starters are off, otherwise the generators won't kick on. So we're going to reset Gen 2, Gen 1. Down the conditioner levers, top prop RPM 1100, volts 28 across the board. We're good. Alright, let's file a flight plan, shall we? Departure airport is 2987 for altimeter. And the wind is light and variable. It's actually it's not. I was reading the TAF. So winds 210 at 11 knots. So we'll be using runway 21 for sure. And Salt Lake City is landing south. So we're gonna file a IFR. Idaho Falls, Victor 212. With VORs, I write down the names in case they tell me to go direct to a VOR, because a lot of times so they won't say the VOR identifier, they'll just call the VOR by the name, which is usually the city that it sits in. I think it's so you can click on it, I'll put it in the middle, you can right click to the right, so Pocatello is the VOR. Anywho, so we're going to do Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Bears 5 arrival. Got to do the Bears 5 because we're in a turboprop, so you got to be careful till you don't select stars that are for jet airliners only. So the Bear 5 allows turboprops to be used. We're slant golf, we're in a B350, we're going to cruise 240, no alternate, IFR, we're going to file. And then we'll come to the map. Idaho Falls. Flight plan has been filed. So all is well there. So what we're going to do, we're going to take off VFR. This is an untowered airport on the PilotEdge network. So I filed IFR, but we're going to take off VFR and pick up our IFR in the air, which is the nice thing to do, because if I call in an IFR now, they're going to put a hold on the airport. For untowered airports, it's one in, one out. So the VFR can take off, but IFR, if I have an IFR hold in place, that means no one is allowed to land here while I'm getting geared up. So it's just nicer to not do that unless it's the weather is, if the weather was really bad, then I would put an IFR hold, but it's VFR weather, so we're going to take off VFR. We'll get to a nice altitude and we'll contact a center, and I'll show you how we find the right frequency for that using real world procedures. All right, so we have filed. Need to do a bus test again. Gentiles, bus light, reset. And we need to set up environment. So anything under 10 Celsius, you want the bleed air in the up normal position. If it's over 10 Celsius degrees and you leave it and down, but it's cold, it's 36 Fahrenheit. So each bleed needs to be at least 11 PSI. So we're going to test each one first. So we have 11 PSI. Turn on both the bleeds. Auto, auto, and then the cabin air is really cold. So we're going to add conditioner lever power to 50%. We're going to turn on the electric heat and you'll see these lights dim. That's why I added power. Electric heat, aft blower, heat, aft. So now we're going to get the cabin, the electric heat turned on, will come up. So you're really seeing the difference between Airfoil Labs Beechcraft and Carinardo Beechcraft, because every single thing is simulated in this plane, where the Carinardo doesn't simulate pretty much nothing. So that's why I enjoy flying this plane a lot more. But I've been having fun with the 1900D here lately. It flies okay, it's just nothing's really simulated, you know, for tests. I like doing all these tests and checklists. Alright, so pneumatic pressure is, I didn't check that. Gyro suction, pneumatic pressure, alright, we're good. We'll check our inverters. Got a bus light. Reset. Bus light. Reset. Inverters are good. We'll turn on our EFIS. You do that after the engine start so you don't fry your avionics. Radio, radio, radio. GTN's firing up. All the lights work. Put it on heading mode. Trim and rudder boost. Trim for takeoff. Right there in the middle. Do flaps for takeoff, which is right here. Turn on the furnace and coffee maker. Test all the E-lights. All that's good. Slave the gyros here and on the first officer side, right there. And now we have to get weather. And weather is, does this place have ATIS or AWAS? It's ATIS 13532. Turn on both your mics, speakers. So we got 2985 on altimeter.
Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 7,500 broken, 9,500 overcast, 31,000
Wind
broken.
200 to 11.
Dew point -4. Altimeter 2985.
All right.
Arriving runways 02.
So COM 2, we're going to monitor guard.
Runways 20.
So we're going to monitor guard on COM 2. And CTAF is 18.5. So we get 18.5 on COM 1. And got to match Idaho Falls elevation. I wonder if there's an altitude of the airport on here. Guess I'll just use this. .4731, 4731. All right, so we're within 75 feet once the altimeter is set, so we know that that is correct. And we're going to enter the flight plan. So flight plan, menu, catalog, Idaho Falls to Salt Lake City. Going to activate that flight plan. So we're going to go Idaho Falls, Victor 2-1, I think. Yeah, Victor 2-1 to PIH Pocatello. And then the Bear 5 arrival for runway 17 transition. So that would be Mauled. Let me see what the Bear 5 looks like. So Salt Lake City. And arrival, Bear 5. Pocatello. And then MLD, so Maled City. So each VOR you'll see has like a city name of some sort. So these are like cities within that state. Or it could be, doesn't have to be a city, it's just most of the time it is. And then Teals, and then Bear. And then Bear is, we have to know altitude for Bear, because landing south, which is WinCom operations at Salt Lake, is landing south. So expect ILS, localizer 16 left approach, or in our case, we'll probably just do a visual approach. So 11,000 we'll plan for Bear. So that's already, it's not set for VNAV, but we'll set it once we get that. So it's expect landing north. We would come down to Dylan and then Wasatch, but we're landing south more than likely, so we're probably going to go from Bear to Ogden, and then we'll put in an approach when we get in the air. So all the waypoints are valid. Transponder 1200 for VFR, because we're going to take off VFR and we'll pick up IFR in the air. Autopilot, we are going to be flying basically due south. So we'll say probably fly a little bit westerly, so that would be even numbers. So we'll go to 16,500. So when you're flying VFR, it is even plus 500. IFR, it's even without the 500. And oh, cool. Thanks, Eagle, for using what is that thing called? Hey, M9, how you doing today, bud? How goes it? It's going well, going well. I had updated my 767 to the current beta last night, and the entire autopilot quit working, so I had just quit the stream last night and rolled back to 133 version. So other than that, that was the only hiccup I've had in the last few days. All right, autopilot is set. We got heading. We're going to set the heading bug for runway heading, which is 210. And then we'll get set up for departure. Let me see what ILS 17 decision altitude. I'll set that while I'm thinking of it. It's 200 radar. So here's the decision height here. So we'll go to DH. So we'll lower that to 200. So that's ready. I hate it when that happens. Yeah. Icon. Yeah, I guess it's called a emote. That's what I was trying to think of. The emote. Glad you found it. Yeah, betas sometimes break things. It's just the way it is. But I always have copies of copies of copies. So I usually don't have an issue rolling back to whatever I knew worked before. So I'm going to do a quick briefing on the flight plan here and the departure. Now the weather's nice. It's there's pretty much it's overcast at 9,000, so we might have to stay relatively low when we're VFR. We'll see. It looked like it was okay, but this weather's showing a 9,000 layer at overcast layer at 9,000. So we're taking off IFR, but if it was, I mean VFR, if it was IFR, then we'd have to do an ODP. So you would come to the airport information, you'd come down to takeoff minimums and do a search for IDA, and that will bring up the airport somewhere. There we go. So if we were going to do a IFR takeoff, we would do this departure procedure. So for IFR, for untowered fields, you have to have a departure procedure within an ODP, which is obstacle departure. So runway 335, departing that way, climb on course. Others left turn, I'm not worried about that. So we're going to do, if we were going to do 2-1, it would be climb on course, others climbing right turn to Idaho Falls, VOR, and then continue to climb within the hold south of the VOR, left turns inbound, 019 inbound to cross Idaho Falls VOR at or above the MEA for the route of flight. So in our case, the route of flight is Victor 21, so you can go to world low, and you'll see that it's 7,000 MSL. So you need to be at 7,000, passing over the VOR to continue on that airway. But we're just going to take off VFR, so we're not have to worry about this. But that would be 019 inbound. So 019 would be like right about here, because that's 210, 240, 270. So 19, that's 18. So 019 inbound, or what is it? Wait a minute. 019. So it'd be like this. 019. here, 019. So you'd be coming in like this, and I think it's left turns, yeah. So it'd be a left turn, so it'd be doing a pattern like this, 016, 019, so it'd be 1518, yeah, 19. So it'd be a pattern like this, south of the airfield until you get to 7,000 feet. That's if you were taking off IFR under a departure procedure, which is what ATC needs for an IFR departure. So we're going to take off runway 21 just for a straight out departure. We'll get on course on this airway. We'll climb, and then we'll get our IFR in the air. We're going to do the Pocatello transition from the Bear 5. So we're going to take Idaho Falls, Victor 2-1 to Pocatello, Bear 5, the notes. You always read the notes. Radar required, DME required. So then we're going to follow these waypoints, which I already verified. Landing south on the Ogden VOR radial 302 to cross Ogden at or above 1000. Expect ILS localizer runway 16 left approach. Now that's for that's not us, because we are going to want 17, but we can ask for 17. It'll still be the same. So Ogden VOR is right here. So radial 302 is this radial 302. Well, the reciprocal of that is 122. So you could quite literally fly this entire arrival slant alpha and just use your radio VOR to VOR, but we're still to do GPS, but that's what that means. So landing south on Ogden, Vortec radial 302 to cross Ogden at 11,000. So we'd be you could set the course for 122 to Ogden, and we would pass Ogden at 11,000. Now, if we were landing north, if Salt Lake was landing north, it would be the THC Vortec 315. So see how it says 315? To cross Diane at or above 11,000. So right here. All right, this is Diane, so you cross that. So basically, you would go from Bear to Diane if Salt Lake was landing north, but we're planning on landing south, so we're going to go this way instead of this way. So that's where runway transitions come into play depending upon the actual airport flows. So if you have like an FMC, what I do for my second flight plan for an airliner is I always put in the opposite flow. So if I was in an airliner using a more standard star for an airliner, I would have the second flight plan set up for landing north, and then the primary set up for landing south. Can't do that with GA, but the GTN is pretty easy to swap it out. So these are transitions depending upon the operation of the airport. And then this is, you only worry about this if you don't have communication. So you have your arrival information, and then you have your operations runway transition here. So they'll just say Salt Lake landing south. So then we'll follow this instruction. And then we're going to grab ILS 17. We'll program that just to have a visual backup for probably just a visual, which is here because it shows a little arrow of which runway this is associated with. Minimums for straight in, that's what the S means, straight in ILS 17. It's 200 above ground, which would be 4419 MSL, because the actual elevation of the airport is 4227. So 200 feet above that would be 4419. That's how you read that. A, B, C, D, and E are aircraft speeds. So slower aircraft is AB, faster is CD, I think. If I'm wrong on that, feel free to correct me. And then we will land on 17 and we'll park at the FPO on this side of the field. So that's the flight plan. So we coming all the way down here, coming over the water, landing into Salt Lake, which is Bravo. But we'll be IFR by the time we get here, so we won't need permission to enter a Bravo because we'll be under IFR radar services by that point. Oh, the other thing I was going to show you was how do I find the, how do I know which frequency to get in touch with center, right? It's Salt Lake Center. So once we're in the air, how do I know what frequency? If I'm not talking to them on the ground, how do you know? Well, you go to world low and you kind of think about where you're going to be. So we're going to use the Pocatello VOR as our location when we call in requesting our IFR clearance. We're going to use that as our location. So that is 112.6 for the frequency for Pocatello. Pocatello. So you got to look for a blue stamp that is close to that. So here's one. So it's in between Idaho Falls and the Pocatello VOR. So we're going to use this blue stamp, and that is Salt Lake Center, 128.35. So blue stamps are center frequencies that you can use to get in touch with the overlying centers. So it's the best thing to do is to use these when you're in the air. On the ground, you might not have the reception. So these are good, you know, when you're high enough, like above 13,000 feet, because this is showing 13,000 for the area MEA. So I'm going to write down 128.35, and that is Salt Lake Center, 128.35. And we'll use that frequency to get in touch with our PilotEdge guys. All right, engine ice is on. We'll check our ignition. Those lights will extinguish with power, which they do. Turn those back off. Do windshield ice on. Auto prop de-ice, it's in the green. Fell back down, so it's good. Do a surface de-ice test. So for that, conditioner lever is full power. And before I'm gonna turn off the electric heat because we're at 70 degrees now. So we'll turn off the heat in the blower, then electric heat switch last. And then we do a surface de-ice. So surface de-ice, it takes this boot and it fills with air that will break the ice off the leading edge of the wing. It's a manual thing that you have to do. So you press and hold for 7 seconds. You'll see the wing light come on and then the tail boot will inflate. So that's a one time, or you can do a single automatic by clicking up, and that will cycle them both once. The tail one is, the tail has boots too. The stabilizer, or is this is the stabilizer, I think. I don't know. All right, ground idle test. So we hold that switch, bring it up to 1500 RPM. See the throttles, I won't move, but we'll release the switch and I'll go back to idle. Do an auto feather test. Same thing, 1500 RPM, but we're looking for AFX lights. The lights are on. We'll feather the left prop. Wait for the engines to stabilize and we'll feather the right one. All right, that worked. So go ahead and arm auto feather. Cabin pressure, we're at about 47, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll set it for 42, 4,200 feet, which is right there. And we'll do a test. A test will give us about 800 feet per minute cabin descent on the test. All right, that's a good test. So we're gonna plan to go all the way up to flight level 240, so we'll set it for 250 at about a 500 foot per minute climb, cabin climb. That way you don't want the pressure to climb too fast because it would make it uncomfortable for passengers if you want to do realistic. Check our fuel. Good on fuel. Do an EFIS test. Like none of these tests you can do in the Beech 1900, but yet the Beech 1900 costs $37. This airplane is $55. Okay, it's a taxi light. Recon light. They're on. Do PTO stall warning.
Idaho Falls Regal Information Echo. 1900 Zulu weather.
2985.
Visibility more than
Weather is still the same. So we're gonna set the VOR mode, and we'll do we'll dial in that VOR Pocatello, which is 12835. Oh no, that was the frequency. Never mind. 112.6. I was like, that's not gonna work. All right, see. Now the VOR is identified PIH, and we are 46 DME, so distance is DME. So when we do get in touch with Salt Lake Center, we will tell them our distance and direction from this VOR when we call in. You always say who you are, where you are, and what you want when you call it in. So it's going to be south, so we'll go that way to get to it. And we'll put nav data, we'll put this to wind instead of estimated time of whatever. So we'll have wind on that. Put this in beta mode. Squawk altitude. Okay, CTAF 18.5, so we're on CTAF. Unicom for in the air is 122.8, so we'll have Unicom set, so that's the frequency for VFR. So when you're flying VFR, you want 122.8 when you're in the air, and you want to monitor guard on 121.5 on COM 2. Because if you have an emergency, you would contact guard is monitored by all ATC guys. Everybody is monitoring that. So no matter where you are, you can always reach someone on guard if you have an emergency. So I just monitor it so I can listen. So 18.5 is CTAP, so we can talk to the guys here at this field, let them know what we're going to be doing, which is taxiing. Break off. I'm going to add some power on the right propeller, so we're making a left turn. So this one's still idle, but I'm just using this one to help make us a left turn, which is why I don't do prop sync until I'm ready to go. A bit expensive, but they're good. All right. Idaho Falls traffic, King Air 139, taxiing to runway 21 via Alpha, Idaho Falls traffic. Now you'll notice down here it says 20. The runway is actually 21. And the reason is that this airport is a payware airport, and when they made this airport, it was runway number 20. And the reason it's now 21 is because every year the magnetic north moves a couple degrees, like between 1 and 3 degrees. I don't remember how much, but what that does is runways are numbered off of magnetic north. So as magnetic north changes, they have to change the runway headings, course headings, which in turn, runways are identified with plus or minus, it's like 5 degrees, I think. So that's why this runway is now runway 21, but because the scenery is dated, it shows up as 20. Approaching city of Milan. Oh, nice. So how much further do you have before you're on the ground? Check our control surfaces here. It's a whole nother FBO on that side. I'll take a look at that real quick before we take off. It's a nice airport. The runways are dated, but other than that, it's a decent airport. So here's the other side of the airport. Nice little GA area over here too, with a second runway. So there's options. All right, landing lights, strobes, put all the lights on. Ignition, anti-ice off. We are trimmed, prop sync is on. Idaho Falls traffic, King Air 1399, taking off runway 21, straight out departure, Idaho Falls traffic. All right, break off, let's go. If I had the money for a home cockpit, like an actual aircraft cockpit, I would have to say that this would be the cockpit that I would build, the King Air, if I had the funds, which I will never have that kind of money, but that would be fun. Plus I don't like building stuff. I like flying it, but I don't like building, so it never would happen.
Auto feather lights on. Airspeed alive. 60 knots. V1. Rotate. V2. Positive rate. Attitudes check. Gear indicates up. Flaps up.
We are on our way, so we're going to go to climb mode. Switch to Unicom, and Salt Lake Center is 12835, based off that blue stamp. So we'll start monitoring that as we climb. Gear is up. Flaps are up. So now we're listening to Salt Lake Center. We'll wait till we get higher because we have to be within his vectoring altitude.
It's a big hassle for us. Yeah, no problem.
All right, we'll reduce the prop a little bit. Turn off the landing lights, taxi lights, ice, Rico. Ignition off, auto feather off.
Taxi the Alpha.
Yaw damper is on and verified. There's no icing. Turn off the seat belts.
Seattle Center, Sky High 39, procedure turn inbound.
Cabin pressure is climbing.
Sky 39, roger. No traffic continue in the Arcus Island Airport. Port I-Park cancellation on the ground. 1-2.2, best approach is frequency. Frequency change advisory is approved.
Report I-4 cancellation on the ground. Frequency change approved. Sky High 39.
234 Charlie Lima, cleared to the Kansas City Airport, Harris 6 departure.
As long as we are on the west side of south, we can fly it even plus 500.
Squawk 3032. We're 4 Charlie Lima, rebound correct.
I'll get in touch with them at 14,000. Good afternoon, Salt Lake Center, King Air 1399 VFR 14,500, 33 miles north of the Pocatello VOR. Request to pick up my IFR into Salt Lake City.
November 1399er, Salt Lake Center, Squawk 5015.
5015, 1399er. 5015.
Number 1399er, enter contact 14 south of the Idaho Falls VOR. Climb maintains level 240, clear to Salt Lake City Airport as filed.
Climb maintain level 240, cleared into Salt Lake City as filed, King Air 1399.
Charlie Golf, Hotel Foxtrot, Oscar, clear direct airfield, 21, navigation.
So share.
November 234 Charlie Lima, Seattle ground. Runway 16 left, taxi via Alpha Bravo Charlie. Frontier Flight 24, you're coming in a little bit quiet, like I can hear you talking, it's just like it sounds like it's muffled. I did hear your request though, it's on request. Frontier Flight 124, cleared to the Dallas Fort Worth Airport, Baker 5, departure Piper, transition on files. Climb via SID, squawk 5054. Frontier Flight 124, did you copy that? Okay. It sounds better, like it sounds like more on one tone, but it still sounds a little muffled. Are you ready to copy your clearance? Okay, Frontier Flight 124, cleared to the Dallas Fort Worth Airport, Staker 5, departure, Piper, transition, NS files, climb via SID, squawk 5054. Frontier Flight 124, yeah, you're cutting it in and out again there on the reback. I did miss the squawk code. Frontier Flight 124, yeah, that sounded a little bit clearer, but I can still tell it's coming in and out a little bit. I'm not sure what the issue is.
Mango, how you doing, bud? It's going good. Just doing a nice relaxing flight today. I couldn't get FS Economy to work. I think their website's down yet again. Otherwise, I was going to do a flight in my Epic, which I guess I'll do tomorrow if I can get FS Economy to work. It's like this forcing me to reset the password again.
November
It's irritating.
122 Juliet Papa, Eugene. Runway 16 right, taxi via Kilo Charlie Alpha. JetBlue 416, San Francisco Tower, wind 26030, gust 37, runway 28 left, everything up.
If you're Bing for FS Economy, it suggests FS Economy down.
Frontier Flight 124. I mean, it does sound better, but we'll see as you go. Like it sounds like a little,
yeah.
kind of like airy. Like I can hear some like.
All right, what do I need to do now?
I'm not sure if that's just the microphone or what's going on, but it just sounds.
We got 12-minute cruise. So we can plan our landing altitude. Approach 17. Is the ground on here somewhere?
Sky 39 isolation received. Talk to you, Brett.
So this is 200s, 44. It's so weird that the ground is not on there. So the ground is 4227 feet MSL. $42.27. All right, so I need to know landing altitude. So the pressure Salt Lake is 2987. So let's say 29.9er plus 500.
November 234 Charlie, MS Seattle Tower.
So 42.27 plus 500. 47.27. Just say a touch over 4,700 feet will be the cabin altitude that will set on our descent. And we'll park right there.
Charlie Golf Hotel,
about
Oscar, contact Salt Lake Center 125.
11.8. Physical altitude is 42.30, rounding that up. Pressure is 2986. Temperature is 14 Celsius.
Salt Lake Center, Charlie Golf Hotel, Fox Oscar,
Wind speed is 14.
Charlie Golf Hotel, Foxtrot Oscar.
Wind heading 180.
205.
Runway length is
Charlie Golf Hotel, Fox Oscar. JetBlue 416, contact departure.
95.97. Runway heading is 169. So flaps full approach 160, gear down 184. Runway needed 3,568. So we got all of our landing stuff set. Take out the tables for our passengers.
November 234 Charlie, leave on contact departure. November 357 Hotel Papa, report to Pueblo Airport site.
Salt Lake, ATIS 12475.
November 357 Hotel Papa, report to Pueblo Airport site.
Get that ready.
So, report field site number 357 Hotel Papa.
JetBlue 416, contact Oakland Center 132.95.
$29.87 altimeter. Okay. Salt Lake approach 135.5. I don't know if that would be the next one or
November
not, but
224
I'm guessing.
Charlie, Seattle departure radar contact. Climb maintain 15,000.
It's 12 Fahrenheit up here.
Good afternoon, JetBlue 416, passing 10,400 for 19,000.
JetBlue 416, Oakland Center, climb maintain level 330.
It's just a great airplane.
Maintain level 330, JetBlue 416.
It's just a fantastic aircraft. This and my Airbus are my favorite.
Vertical track.
Salt Lake Center, King Air 1399. Approaching my top of descent.
Loud and clear.
Apparently I stepped on someone.
Number 139er just up. Our cross bear at maintain 16,000.
Cross Bear at maintain 16,000, 1399.
Number 4 Charlie Lima, you said something I missed.
16,000, so that's actually
15,000.
we'll start on our way down now.
11, capital clearance.
So we'll hit descend.
Alright, if you're gonna call for radio check and then call for a clearance immediately after the radio check, don't bother calling for the radio check, just call for clearance, and if nobody replies, then you know you have an issue. Clear to the Palm Springs Airport, Foothills 2 departure, right, transition minus filed.
Yeah, you don't want to call in a radio check and then say something right afterward. It's kind of redundant.
37.
Okay. So we're going to set our.
Having some trouble with heads back. Can you hear me okay?
We're going to start our cabin pressure on our way down.
November 7 Hotel Papa, yeah, I can hear you.
So we're going to set it for
3611, sorry, you're stepped on at the end there.
4,700. So just a little bit down.
Volunteer 3611, reback, correct.
4,700. So the cabin is descending. Put in a procedure. Approach 17 from Ogden.
Okay, you don't need to call for push then.
Load that. I'm just gonna do it by visual, but I'll have it there as backup.
Number 122 Juliet Papa, Eugene Tower, runway 16 right, clear for takeoff.
Contact, you have information, Echo. Salt Lake City International Airport, ATIS information, Echo. 1954 Zulu. Wind 170 at 14. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 7,500. Few clouds at 11,000. Ceiling 15,000 broken. Temperature 14. Dew point -7. Altimeter 29087. Arriving and departing runways 14, 16 left, 16 right, 17. Visual approaches in use. Simultaneous approaches to parallel runways in use. VFR departs contact clearance delivery. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Echo.
Salt Lake City Center, good afternoon, JetBlue 2725, flight level 330.
JetBlue 2725, Salt Lake Center, good afternoon.
I'm just not that talkative today, guys. Sorry about that. Some days I'm more talkative than others. Just enjoy the view.
Over 4, Charlie Lima, radar contact lost. November 2, Juliet, Papa, contact Cascade departure.
November 357 Hotel Papa has field in sight.
Number 122, Juliet, Papa, Cascade departure, radar contact. Leaving 3000, turn right direct Corvallis. November 7, Hotel Papa, Squawk VFR, frequency change approved.
Squawk VFR, frequency change approved, number 357 Hotel Papa.
ILS 111.5.
Number 13909, contact Salt Lake City approach 124.9er.
Salt Lake approach 124.9er 1399.
Salt Lake Center, Delta 468 Heavy with you 350.
Delta 468, Salt Lake Center. Good afternoon.
Salt Lake approach King Air 1399er, Bears 5, 16,000, current with Echo, request ILS 17 from Ogden.
Number 13909, Salt Lake City approach. Roger, expect the ILS 17. Salt Lake City altimeter 2987.
2987 and expect ILS 17 1399. Eagle says, just landed when I turned off the autopilot. I don't know what happened, but the plane went a bit crazy. How high were you when you turned it off? Like, what was your altitude above the ground? Like 200, 400, 1,000? Coming up to Salt Lake. Course 417 is 169.
Frontier Flight 124, Denver ground runway 17 right, taxi via Mike.
Maybe 2,000, because when I turned it off, the plane started pointing at the ground. That's weird. Are you sure the trim is working? Because Airbus auto trims for angle of attack. So it should not have done that. Like as soon as you disconnect autopilot, it should have just maintained level flight or at least continued in the same direction that you were flying. So that seems like the auto trim feature is awry. Shouldn't have done that. I thought maybe ground effect or some, updraft or something, but if it's not weather related, it's trim. So next time you fly that airplane, make sure the trim wheel is spinning whenever you change, your AOA up or down. If it's spinning, then it's fine. If it's not turning, then that's an issue. But Airbus has an auto trim till you get to about 20 feet, and then it turns off automatically. At least that's how it is with the Flight Factor Airbus that I have. My game is younger than me for like 2 months. I'm from 2006. To put it in perspective, my daughter was born in 96.
Number 13909 across Ogden at 11,000. Cleared the ILS 17 approach.
Across Ogden at 11,000, cleared ILS 17 approach, 1399. Landing light, taxi light, Rico, all lights. How about that? All lights. Wow, you're quite around young. Yeah, Eagle's like 13. He's my youngest viewer, but he had me fooled because he's very, very polite, well-mannered for a young man. So that's a good personality to have at such a young age. You're mature beyond your years. And we can live vicariously through Eagle because you're probably going to be a real-world pilot, which I can't do. And do they have, I know you're from the island chain or something, is there like a military armed forces that you could get into to be like a pilot, like a pilot in the military to where they would actually pay for your training? You know, something to think about when you get older. There's like an airline shortage of pilots right now, so you're at a good age to start learning this stuff.
Volunteer 3611. Capital ground runway 34 right, taxi to Delta.
Yeah, we have a military force where I live. What kind of, I mean, not everybody wants to be in the military, I get that. But what kind of military aircraft, like, do they have fighters and do they have a Navy? It's kind of like, can you fly off a carrier or is that just United States stuff? I really don't know. What's the name of your military where you live? Is
Frontier Flight 124, Denver Tower, runway 17 right, group 0.
Navy, if I'm not wrong. NAVI. That's cool. So if you had have you looked in to see what planes are available? That'd be cool. Let the military pay for all your training instead of you doing it.
Fresno approach is...
I've been inside, it's crazy. Oh.
568 Romeo Sierra, Pleasant Gordon, ready. JetBlue 416, radar contact lost.
Towers 18-7. Go to tower for runway 17 is 18.3. So there's different frequencies per runway, so you got to really pay attention to the proper frequency.
Maintain 9,000, squawk 2442.
Once a year they open it for people. They have helicopters and jets. Oh, nice. Not really low on fuel.
Read back correct. Release for departure. Clearance void is not off in 20 minutes. Time now 2045. Your void time's 20 minutes from now.
Turn on the auto feather, auto ignition, prep for landing.
Fresno approach.
Most of the people that work there are American. Oh, that's cool.
568 Romeo Sierra, Fresno approach, go ahead.
Missed approach, climbed to 5,800, so we'll just say 6,000. Then climbing left turn to 10,000 direct to the Provo VOR. Alright, so 6,000 and 10,000. Be a left turn to 10,000. So, yeah, I know. It's yelling at me for fuel. That's all. We have plenty of fuel.
Volunteer 3611, Capital Tower, runway 34 right, group takeoff. JetBlue 2725, contact Denver Center 133.67. Delta 468, contact Denver Center 133.67. Frontier Flight
Vertical
124,
track.
contact departure. JetBlue 2725, Denver Center, roger.
So I've been cleared to fly the approach, but I have not been cleared to land. There's two different clearances. One to fly the approach, and then you have a clearance to land.
Denver departure, Frontier Flight.
He'll tell me to go to tower for that latter part.
Frontier Flight 124, Denver departure, radar contact.
180 knots, we can go to flaps 1.
Number 139er, contact Salt Lake City Tower 118.3.
Salt Lake Tower 118. Did you say 0.3 or 0.7? 1399.
Delta 468, Denver Center, roger. Volunteer 3611, contact NorCal departure.
Oh, no, he's right. It's 0.3.
NorCal departure, volunteer 30.
Whatever.
Volunteer 3611, NorCal departure, radar contact, climate change, level 1190.
Salt Lake Tower, King Air 1399, establishing a localizer, runway 17.
Number 139er, Salt Lake City Tower, runway 17, clear to land.
17, clear to land, 1399. Alright, props full, gear down, conditioner levers full. For these higher elevations, I like it full for the conditioner levers. Should be no traffic global landing on this runway. It's a GA runway. All the airliners have two runways on either side of this main part. The GA is on this side. Ground is 0.9er.
Roger, Flight 124, contact Denver Center 127.02.
It's a 9,500 foot runway, so it's plenty of runway. Winds 180 at 14. So it's pretty much right down the runway.
Frontier Flight 124, Denver Center, climb maintain level 350.
Minimum's 200 radar, 4420 MSL.
Volunteer 3611, contact Oakland Center 132.905. Yeah, 2340 Oakland Center, roger.
To minimums.
Volunteer 3611, Oakland Center.
Autopilot off, my plane.
Minimums.
Sky High 39, Salt Lake, correction, Seattle Center, ident.
100 feet. 50 feet.
Sky 39, radar contact 23 northwest of the Penco VOR. Maintain 900,000. JetBlue 2725, radar contact lost.
Knots.
November 1399 left, unable, ramp via Kilo, have a good day.
Left and Kilo to the ramp, 1399, thanks you too.
November 122 Juliet Papa, contact Seattle Center 121.4. Number 122 Juliet Papa, Seattle Center, Portland, altimeter 3016.
cutoff. I really hope to become a real pilot one day. Now remember, we have CN AOG planes where I live too. Oh, okay. And there's no such thing as I hope. The only thing you should say is when I become, not I hope. It's already yours. You just have to reach out and grab it. All right. What am I doing? Let me sign offline here.
Disconnected.
Disconnect.
$69. 200 feet to minimums. 100 feet to minimums. Minimums.
Towers across the field.
100 feet. 50 feet. Props full. Props full. Knots.
$74 gallons of fuel left. Oh, sweet. That was a good, nice trip. Reset traffic global. I think it's full. Yeah. Nice. Thanks, guys. Eagle, M9, others, Mango. You guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon, and I might stream again tonight. I'm not sure. I don't want to say I'm going to, so I'll just say I might. Depends what time I get back and if there's any controllers on VATSIM or I don't know. We'll see. If not, I will be back tomorrow. Normal bat time, normal bat channel. So y'all take care. See you next time. See you, Eagle.
1498, contact tower 132.65.
3265, switching down to 1498. Great day.
Zero Hotel Whiskey, contact approach 118.85.
Out of the Bravo, through top of the building.
Moving to 1 o'clock, 4 miles northbound, level 1000, phone 737. Sky 4133, turn right direct, F-Star.
4133. 4313, or 3 Papa Sierra.
ST39 Charlie, maintain 17, zone off, bunker.
Alright, 170 to bunker, Sky ST39 Charlie.
American 2357, reduce speed of 190.
Slow to 170, Sky 4088.
Charlie, contact tower 132.65, for now.
Alright, tower, guys, 239 Charlie, great.
Select First United 602, we're leveling 15,250 knots with Oscar. I'll take left down to 11,000 United 602.
119.95.
That was 4133, let's see. Search and Sky 4088.
Regional light chop out of 1000, please let me know how your ride goes.
Who was that one?
No, 1878, just let you know it's mostly smooth rides and then climb occasional light chop out of 1000. Just let me know how your ride goes.
Okay, thank you. 13 minutes, 46 top up over at 7,700 for 10,000.
Nevada 46 Alpha Echo, Sully departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 14,000.
I maintain 14,000.
Nevada 6 Alpha Echo, expect mostly smooth rides in your climb, occasional light chop out of 11,000.
Nevada 6 Alpha Echo.
1878, turn heading 340.